Hello there everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race and Strategy Guide, where we're off to Suzuka International Circuit and we are in the Group 2 machinery. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, we did this race quite recently, I feel, then you are definitely not mistaken, because it was around about 11 weeks ago we did this exact race, and I mean this exact race down to every single setting, including the clouds, only 11 weeks ago. So that's not going to exhibit the most positive reaction, I would imagine, from a lot of people. But let's just get down to the nitty gritty. 11 laps, tyre wear at ×3, fuel at ×2, just the racing softs, a mandatory pit stop, damage is on, light BOP is on, it's a rolling start, and slipstream is custom. Settings allowed are just your brake balance. If you remember, last time we did this race, they did start with real slipstream, and then they changed it to custom slipstream, which I wasn't very happy about, but it turns out that custom slipstream is not too powerful in the Group 2 cars. But let's get this one underway. Like last time, it's just going to be an NSX 1 make, for a couple of reasons. One, it's probably the fastest car around the track, and two, this race is all about actually having some tyres towards the end, and the NSX is the best car on tyres out of the three GT500s. Of course, you have the 2008 cars available. You've got the Audi DTM car, you've got the CLK, you've got the McLaren F1, you've got the Toyota GT1 available as well, but none of them are competitive, so it's always nice to have quite a decent selection of cars, but only actually be able to drive one of them. And yes, that is sarcasm for anyone that never picked up on it. Anywho's, this race is now underway. We're coming through Degner 2 on lap 1. We started down towards the back of the pack. There's a lot of familiar names in the field here. The 7 o'clock race, the first one of the week. A lot of people are trying their hand at this for the first time. But it's not really the first time, because you're probably still fairly familiar with driving it from only 10 weeks ago. Coming up towards Spoon now. We are down in P13, just kind of looking to see how this one's going to unfold as this opening lap gets towards near its completion. There's somebody off the track, so that's a position made up. We have a very, very strange incident here down into 130R. Now, I don't think there was any way I could possibly have prepared myself for what was about to happen here. If anyone's got any idea as into the explanation for it, then I'm all ears, because why does anybody brake that much for 130R in a Group 2 car? But it gives us front bumper damage. That car then goes off the track and then bumps us as they rejoin the track. So yeah, I wasn't hugely impressed with the German, as you can possibly imagine. You can see I'm all flustered and annoyed here as I cycle through the views trying to find the one that I want to be back on. Anyways, we have suffering some damage down here into turn 1, but we do defend the Austrian. Somebody off the track there as well. Yellow flags are out. That's Shelty. Not entirely sure what happened to Shelty, whether he was helped off the track or whether he ended up there under his own steam. But we're going to jump forward here to lap 4, and we were catching got Max Power here quite quickly. He is in the GTR. He's probably suffering from some pretty horrible front tyre wear by this point. So we're going to dive into the pits and maybe try and get an undercut on Max and a couple of the other drivers. Fuel is going to be no issue whatsoever. And I knew at this point we were going to be cutting these tyres pretty fine, because I remember how this race unfolded last time we did it. But into the box we get, fresh set of boots onto the car, and as we exit the pit lane here, we're going to take a look at that pit loss. It's going to be 17 seconds. Fuel, no issue whatsoever. I think I've already said that. But yeah, the plan here was to come out the pits and immediately go into some kind of tyre saving, because I knew getting 7 laps out of these soft tyres on this track, it's a bit of a tyre killer, was not something that was going to be particularly easy. But as we come past the pits here a lap later, you can see this undercut has worked very, very well indeed, even getting in front of the Greek driver. That was very, very important. And up into P Wombo and behind Tidgney, so I think we jumped about 4 cars, at least 3 cars in that pit stop sequence. The Greek driver, Bahamas and Max Power. So very nice undercut indeed. And we'll jump all the way forward to lap 10 here, as Danny, who pitted on lap 6, has made a mess of it coming out of Degner 2. We're going to go up the inside here. Now we are struggling for tyre wear at this point. I knew the tyres were going to make it at this point, but they weren't feeling very good at all. And we were kind of starting to catch up with Tidgney and Mario Sonic. Now Mario Sonic pitted at the same time as me, so he's done a good job getting the tyres to the end as well. Him and Tidgney had a pretty decent battle over the last couple of laps. We couldn't quite capitalise, but we do bring the car home in P5, courtesy of that undercut. We jumped Hogston in the pits as well, and then Danny spun, so pretty decent result, and 20 minutes 29 seconds for Blue Racer winning the race means it's a pretty good length of race, so we certainly can't complain about that. But let's just move on to the strategy options. Very, very simple indeed. Optimal strategy. 99% of people are going to do this strategy, and to be honest with you, 99% of people are going to have to do this strategy because you just won't get the tyres to last any longer than 6 laps on the second stint. And your undercut strategy is pretty much what we did, pitting on lap 4 and then try to get the tyres to last for 7 laps on the second stint. It is possible to do a 3-8 as we did last time this race was live, but you literally have to just nurse the tyres for the entire second stint. But it is definitely a possibility. Particularly keep an eye on that track temperature because it can fluctuate in this one by a few degrees, and if it's quite low it does open up the strategy. But most people are just going to be doing an optimal strategy because tyre wear is going to be an issue for a lot of people in this one. So kind of one-dimensional, and we did this race 10 weeks ago, so it just isn't good enough. And I'm not saying it's a bad race, it's not, it's just the fact that we did it 10 weeks ago. And you know, we showed from the video on Sunday, if you watched it, you can take the same car, you can take the same track, and you can make many different dynamics to the race. So you know, I would have been quite happy had they made this like the McLaren F1 Longtail one make with these exact settings. It would have been different, and that would have been enough to keep me happy. But as it is, just not good enough. And I can't see myself actually doing this race again this week. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.